Let me ask you a question. When you hear the word imole, what comes to your mind? Light, right? All right, thank you. When you hear the word imole and you think of a young person, who comes to your mind? Mo? Is there anybody here who knows the meaning of the name Mohbad? I am bright and destined. That's what Mohbad means. Mo, I am. Bad, bright and destined. Now, when you look at this image, what do you see? Light. Also. Now, why am I using the story of Leader Mohbad? Leader Mohbad represents the kind of students we work with at the Fame Foundation. Students from public secondary schools. And people like Leader Mohbad, I've met so many thousands of them in over half a decade of working with the Fame Foundation. And one thing we've seen about them is when they don't have access to leadership education while in secondary school, it has a way of affecting how far they can go in life or sustain whatever level of success that they attain. Now, in September, we lost Leader Mohbad, a bright and shining light, a young man with a very promising future. How many of you know this song? Can I see hands up? Fantastic. All right, so let's do a call and response. Emi omo ghetto. All right, next line. My Gracie na auto. Now, everybody together. So now I'm the choir coordinator and you're my backup. Emi Tigbera Lati 430 Wole Wabati. Sorry about my Yoruba. Okay, help me with the last line. Thank you so much. It's good to know we have so many Mohbad fans here. You know, when I heard about his death some months back, someone texted me and said, Raphael, I wish Leader Mohbad met Fame when he was in secondary school. Is it possible that meeting Fame would have helped him overcome some of the challenges he had during the latter part of his life? Now, Mohbad said in one of his songs, he said, what did he say? Now turn to your neighbor, say, ask about me. What did your neighbor say? Now, today, in our world, we have so many young people saying, ask about me, ask about me. And this was what happened in 2015, after I completed my education at the University of Ibadan. I was posted to Kano State, Nigeria. Back then, I used to call it a mistake. But in hindsight, it turned out to be the best question I ever asked in my life. I was assigned to teach history, government, and civic education. And being someone coming from University of Ibadan, that's where I graduated from, I didn't just want to start my class like that. Then I asked my students, who is a leader? And that was when I had my first aha moment. My students responded, the gate man, the principal, the governor, my teacher, and none of them saw themselves as leaders. It was so shocking for me. And I was like, I don't know I'm a leader. How come my students don't know that? And immediately I recognized an identity crisis problem in that classroom. And that was how my Fame journey began. And throughout my service year, I decided to take it upon myself to make sure that my students came to the realization that they are all leaders. Because our culture has influenced our mindsets, whereby this is what a leader looks like to most people. So we see so many young people and even old people, they grew up being told that people with positions are leaders. And in my classroom, I recognized that my students didn't know that they had influence and they could also take responsibility for their lives, because that's what actually makes you a leader. Your ability to use your influence and take responsibility. Now turn to the person beside you. Look into the eyeball of that person. Not in a threatening way. Not in a romantic way. I'm not asking you to shoot your shot. Just talk to the person. Say, leader, do you know who you are? Now, reply to your neighbor. Say, I am a leader. Now, can we do it again? 1, 2, 3, go. Fantastic. Can we all clap for ourselves? So, what we do at FAME is we go into secondary schools and we try to make sure every student who comes in contact with FAME, that they come to discover that they are leaders and they can take influence right where they are. Not until they are made maybe a prefect, a class captain, before they can begin to see themselves as leaders. Not until they have followers, like you see in this picture. Now, what do leaders look like today? Who is the person on my screen? Who knows him? That's what leaders look like today. Someone like Mohbad can destroy so many lives and save so many lives with a single tweet, with a single song. Just imagine, after his death, we had his song trend even more than when he was alive. Isn't that incredible? Now, in 2017, after I returned from my service here in Kano State, I and my friends, we started the FAME Foundation. If you look at the back, you would also see one of them at the back. It's more like my co-founder. Can we all celebrate it, Adu? With my last 20,000 naira alawi, I came back to Ibadan after telling my parents that I was never ever coming back to Ibadan after my university education. And with my friends, together with my friends, we started the FAME Foundation. And what did we start doing? We went into secondary schools trying to create awareness about leadership. Everyone a leader. Making sure every child in the secondary school knows they are leaders. This was me at the first ever FAME program we ever had. You see this image? I didn't look like this before we started. You know how public schools can be? They have communication problems and everything. The day they told us to come to the school to talk to the students, we got to the school gate and the gate man told us they were on holiday, like midterm break. And the school already told us, we even called them the night before, and they told us we can still come. I wanted to turn back that day, and my team member said, Leader Raphael, we're already here. Why should we turn back? There are some students inside the school. How about we just have a session with them? And these were the first set of students FAME ever impacted. 27 in number. And these were the first ever volunteers who ever volunteered for our FAME program. Now we start with the number 27. Today, a lot of people, I get so many emails, so many calls, and they're always telling me, Raph, you guys must have so much funding. How are you guys able to do this? We've tried to do it, it didn't work. We've tried to enter into the schools, it didn't work. How have you been able to reach over 35,000 students in just 6 years? Something they told us in the beginning was going to take us 20 years to get to that number. But we didn't just start from 27 and jumped to 35,000. From 27, 100, 5,000, 35,000. Students who now know they are leaders. And the beautiful thing about our program is the ripple effect. These same 35,000 have reached 2 more leaders in their schools, even before they graduated. And today, indirectly, we've reached over 70,000 students. Now, our volunteers have volunteered in very, very uncomfortable conditions. Like you can see this picture. This is a picture from a school in Xchange, Oyo State. Where are we having the class? Under a tree, just to make sure the program holds for the students. On this journey, we faced so many objections, whereby the government tells the schools, make a class available for the students when we have the 1 hour to 2 hour sessions. And instead of them making the class available for them, they tell us, go and use a tree. How many of you would want to train someone for free at no cost, and you get there and they act all entitled and want to stress you out, and you still want to go ahead to have a session with your students under the tree? Now, these are the heroes of faith who have made our work possible. These are some of them. Most of them, they've left the country now to further their education. Some of them work in some of the biggest organizations in Nigeria and across Africa as well. And today, most of them are the ones responsible for funding our work. So when people ask me, I was telling them, these are the people funding it, people like you and I. Every little goes a long way. Now, on our journey in trying to create an everyone a leader movement in our secondary schools, we've noticed 4 big changes that most students in secondary schools suffer from. And also, most people in this audience as well have suffered from or are still experiencing. One of them is self-management, surging dopamine, impression management, and decision making. An average child in the secondary school, we've discovered that they are unable to envision what the future looks like in mostly public secondary schools. And most of them, they don't know what to do with the different emotions they're feeling. And most of them, they are influenced greatly by their peers. And out of the 98% of young people who enroll in primary schools in Africa, only 9% make it to tertiary education. So can you see how important secondary education is in making sure we're able to save the future? So now I'll quickly rush to the story of the covenant. Now, 5 years ago, we met Leader Covenant, a bright and shining star, just like Leader Mohbad. When we met Covenant, this was the state we met in it. A boy who had no vision, had no sense of purpose, suffering with serious identity crisis, and we were able to train him. After his secondary school education, with his new discovery that he was a leader, he got admission to study medicine at the University of Ibadan. He didn't just stop there. He came back to the organization and applied to be a volunteer. And in 2020, he went back to his school, Wesley College, in Ibadan, to train 60 students, paying it forward. You see the ripple effect. Now, this is the covenant. When he got to school, he noticed that a lot of students, undergrads, were struggling with networking, socializing, leveraging opportunities as students. They were so focused on the academics. And him and his friend, they created Students of LinkedIn. So if you go on LinkedIn and check, Covenant is the one who created that. In 2021, he had his first program on campus called the Ripple Effect. So I'll leave you with 3 lessons today. The first one, be careful whose voice you listen to when you have a dream or an idea. Most of us, when we want to start things, we tend to want to tell everybody about our wonderful vision, our brilliant idea. But the truth is, no one really cares about you. Everyone is so focused on themselves most times. So my advice to you today is, whatever hustle you want to go into, whatever career path you want to follow, whatever dream or initiative you have in your head, just start. As you start, people who resonate with what we do, they would find you as well. From 10 people, over 3,000 people have volunteered with us today. Teachers inclusive. So please, whatever dream you have in your heart, let no one tell you it is impossible. Have a possibility mindset. Look for the right people. Passion is not enough. Get knowledge. Embrace discipline. Be focused. As you choose to step out in faith, the help that you need would find you. Thank you everyone for listening to me.